Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to computer delivered versus paper-based IELTS. So today's video we're gonna talk about which one is easier. As from my previous video, it has been discussed the difference between IELTS and PTE, and this time we will be talking about the computer delivered IELTS and the paper-based IELTS. So I've taken both tests. I've taken the paper-based IELTS test 2 years ago. I'm gonna share with you the experience I had. I took my paper-based exam in RMIT University or British Council exam, and the computer delivered was with the IDP in Queen Street. Yeah, so this will be based on my experience. During the paper-based exam, I went in there and there are like 300 students taking the test at that time. We had to fall in line. Actually, there's the academic writing exam and the general training exam. So there's like two lines when I was taking the test. There's two lines for the general and then for the academic. So there's like plenty of students waiting in the lobby of the building. So we waited until the desk opens, and then we went to the top of the building. We went up to the 8th floor as far as I can remember. So we went to the 8th floor, and then we fall in line again to a different rooms. We were allocated to a different rooms. Oh, actually, we went to this like a hall, and there's chairs and everything where we left our belongings, our bags and everything. So we went there. We listened to the instructions on where to go, which room to go, and then we look for our rooms. Then there are names there where you will fall in line again, and then there's a person at the door to verify your details and everything. So we went in there, and in that room there's like roughly 10 rooms all up for that floor, like 10 rooms all up for doing the academic, and each room contains 20 students. So yeah, there's a lot of students during that time. And then after that, the verification process was in each room. So there's a person who will check your details in the room, and then you go inside, and then you will have an allocated seat, and then you will be provided with a pen and a paper, a pencil actually, and a paper, and then an answer sheet. So you will get all that in the paper-based IELTS exam. So after that, the listening section is the first one, where you can hear an audio and then answering at the same time. And then it's a continuous test. Like after the listening section, the second one is a reading section, and then the third one is the writing section, which is the hardest part. And after the writing section, you have a little bit of break before you head off to the speaking section. So anyway, with the computer delivered IELTS, there are only like 20 students in one room, and then that's it for the day, nothing else. So it also depends if some students won't turn up, so there are really less students taking the test, so it's not that crowded. When I went to IDP testing center, we just went up to this building in Queen Street. We went to the 7th floor, and they have more lounge there, waiting area, and then they have a bag locker for your belongings, and then verified, and then went to the waiting room, and then the person will get you to go to the computer room where you are taking the test, and then that's it. You will be seated in your allocated computer and desk, and then the test will continue. And then after listening, writing and reading, you have a break. It depends on what time you decided to take the speaking test, within that day or the next day. So let's proceed. The question is, which one is easier, the computer delivered or the paper-based IELTS? What are the differences of these two tests? There are not much difference on this test except for that it is being delivered in a computer and the other one is being done on a paper. The only difference is that in a computer delivered IELTS, there are only few students taking the test compared to paper-based where it is really crowded and there's a lot of students taking the test. So if you will compare, computer delivered is much preferable because it's less crowded, less stress, less noise, or yes, so it's preferable with the number of test takers. Now let's continue to the test format. So when you compare the computer delivered IELTS to paper-based, the format of the exams are the same. The listening section, the reading section, the writing section, and the speaking section, they all the same. So it is not really a new thing because they all the same format. You listen to the audio, but you write at the same time and then you type at the same time. The only thing that's different between the listening section is that you cannot highlight the words in listening section, but in reading section you can highlight the words if you want to. And with the reading section, this same format, the same question types, and then there's 3 passages to answer, which is the same in both tests, the computer delivered or the paper-based test, so they all the same. The writing is a bit interesting because in computer delivered IELTS exam, you will have to type your answers, and in paper-based you have to write your answers. So that's the main difference with the writing section. With the speaking section, they all the same. You will be interviewed by a person face to face in a private room where no one is in there except for you and the examiner. And then the marking criteria are all the same, like the coherence and cohesion and all those marking criteria that the IELTS need. They all the same in both exam, either computer or paper-based. So they all the same, and it is being marked by a human being or a person, not by computer. So now let's talk about the advantage and disadvantages of computer delivered IELTS. As we know, computer IELTS, you will do it on a computer. So it really depends if your eyes is used to looking at the computer for a long time. If not, there is a really great disadvantage of this because your eyes will become tired, will become sore looking at the computer for a long period of time. So if you're not used to it, then maybe this is not a very good side for you. The keyboard noises from the other test takers will really distract you when you're doing the writing exam because you can really hear the other test takers typing and the keyboard noises. So it is a distraction which is pretty normal for a computer delivered exam. But in a paper-based, you don't have to type and everything, so it's very quiet in a paper-based exam. But the advantages, let's talk about the disadvantages. With computer delivered IELTS, you save time if you have the speed of typing or you have the skills of typing, but you can practice typing at home using the computer or the Word, so you will master the keyboard and then your hands will get used to typing. The next one is that in computer delivered IELTS, you can easily edit and delete the words, especially in the writing section, because in a writing section there is a section there where you can write your essay and then you can copy, you can cut, delete your words or passages, or you can brainstorm in the bottom and you just copy and paste it on top. It's so easy. You don't have to rub everything like the one in a paper-based. And also the bonus is that there is a word counter at the bottom, so you don't have to worry if you reach 250 words in task 2 or you haven't reached 150 words in task 1, because there is a word counter at the bottom. The next advantage is the result of IELTS computer-based is much faster than the paper-based IELTS exam. When I took my paper-based, it took me around 13 days before I got my result. But with the computer-delivered IELTS, it only took me 2 to 3 days, and then the result came delivered to my door. So if you ask me, which is easier? Well, based on my experience, both tests are difficult, especially in the writing section, because that's the hardest part of the test. The writing section is very much difficult. Even though I am very good with typing, I still struggle writing my essay. It also depends really on you, if whatever is comfortable with you. Either you are very good in typing and then your writing skills are good, your knowledge, you practice well. There's no difficult if you are prepared. So it really depends on the individual. You just need practice and practice and practice. So for me, it's not an easy test. So it is a really hard test to pass. So for me, there's no other choice. Either you go for paper-based, or you think computer-based is much easier, because you can, I think it's much easier for the computer-based to those who are good with typing, especially people with good typing skills. I think the computer-based has more advantage than that, but with a paper-based, more people usually prefer writing instead of typing. So it really depends on the individual. But for me, they are both hard and difficult. So there is really not an easy task. What I would suggest though is that if you have taken this IELTS test multiple times and you still couldn't get your score, don't be scared. Don't be scared to try different tests, alternatives. Like, there are many different English tests there that are still acceptable, whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to pass, either registration or uni or whatever. You can choose PTE, OET, and TOEFL. I think these exams are acceptable. Just double check first and then try looking online the test format, and then give it a go, give it a try, because I did give it a try. I did the PTE only once because I really want to try what's the difference. So I did a PTE once and I did a great job. I passed in one setting and I got a very good score. So when I compared it to IELTS, I would really suggest trying the PTE because they have a different scoring system compared to IELTS. If you are aiming for 7 in all sections, try doing the PTE. But if you're only aiming for 6, a band of 6 or 6 in each section, try doing that. You can really tell the difference. If you don't try, you will never know whatever is there for you. So there's no harm in trying. It's only $330. If you pass, that's great. If you don't, at least you try different system and you will not get stuck with just IELTS only. At least you try something different. So I hope you learned something from this video, and if you have any questions, I will try my best to answer based on my experience. And if you have any suggestions, leave a comment down below. If you're new here, this is Michelle, and if you haven't subscribed, click that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you again on my next video. Please also check all my playlists on IELTS and IELTS versus PTE, and I also have frequently asked questions on computer-based IELTS exam. I'll put the link down below, and I see you next time. Goodbye for now.